To have a deep understanding of your business, what you can handle yourself, and on those parts of the business, go all in. All of you're trying to grow fast, so as much time as you can into making sure that it gets to the point where it gets to the right point and it gets to where you need it to go. And then the other parts, you need to either delegate it out to somebody you trust or to understand, this is not a section of the business that I'm comfortable with even having.
We're here with Sam Mytelka, amazing person that has a high level of understanding of how to help businesses get faster. He's got a skill set that I'm so excited that you guys that are listening today will be able to learn from him and glean some good information. So Sam, awesome to have you with us. Briefly tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe kind of a little bit about your business and how you help businesses grow fast.
Sure. So we're a full service CPA firm. We focus on tax strategy, full service accounting, and what really makes us different is we're going to, on our accounting side, we're not going to just provide a set of books that helps create a tax return. We're going to create a set of books that's really set for a really large company and helps them understand how their business is doing, understand their finances and how to make changes and if they get their books on a monthly basis, soon after the end of the month they're able to see a really good glimpse of how they're doing. So that's what we're focused on.
No, that's awesome. Obviously, I've connected you and introduced you to people in my network. You've helped a lot of people that we've worked with, our clients, to grow faster. And so it's easy for me to kind of interview you because not only are you saying you do these things, like I've experienced it, our clients have experienced it, our networks have experienced it. So that's kind of like the proof. But if you're going to take a step back and say, okay, what are maybe something a person should focus on first, maybe a business owner should initially focus on? Is there any ideas of what that would look like from your perspective?
So the first thing to focus on, I like to work backwards. I pretty much ask this every single time I meet somebody new is what's your goal? What's your long-term goal? A lot of times that's a personal goal. If we're not talking about a massive business, that's a personal goal of the business owner, what they want to do, financially, what they're looking for out of their business, and then to work back. An easiest way to work back is to understand your gross margin, which is your revenue less your cost of goods sold, or the easy way to understand your cost of goods sold is your variable costs. So if you sell more product or you sell more of this service, I'm going to have more. If you sell more of a product, I'm going to have to buy more of that product. If you're going to sell more of a service, I'm going to need more headcount. I'm going to need more employees. So to understand what that number looks like. So in other words, if you sell a product or a service for $100 and it costs you $50, so now you know I need to sell X amount of this product or service in order to make this amount of money. And then you also know, typically you might know if you have good books, you'll know that you have X amount of overhead that's fixed cost. You have your office manager, you may have rent, those types of things. So you'll know what you have there, so you can subtract that out and know, okay, well, I need to sell 1,000 of this product or 1,000 hours of this service every month in order to hit my goal. And
I love that.
then that's a target. And what do we need to do to hit that target?
I love that. No, that's really good. I mean, a couple things just that I think that you shared that are so spot on and so amazing. And it's one reason why we have such good integration with connecting with you is, one, you're starting with like someone's livelihood, their life. What do they want out of life?
Right.
And I think that's so frankly unusual for your industry to some degree, like that you look at their holistic life to some degree too. And we at Entre Results want to create a business that gives someone the life they want. So you're helping them not like give them the life they want and do it in a fast way.
Right.
The other thing that you do a really good job of, even in this example, like just right now, is a lot of people are like intimidated by this part of business, and you do a good job of you understand the deepest level of business and the numbers and things like that, but you explain it to people in a very, I'd say simple way, but in a way that people can understand it that maybe don't have the background you do. And so I think that's one of your superpowers as well, to do that. So anyway, just kudos to you on that. But what's maybe one tool that you recommend, or a strategy, I guess, that you could recommend for people wanting to grow fast?
So, I learned this actually when I was probably about 18 or 19 years old, and I was working in a supermarket, and um, it was a fascinating experience because I got to know the owner of the supermarket, and it was a pretty large supermarket even by today's standards, but it was privately owned. It wasn't one of these huge chains, and he had all these little shops within his supermarket, that he had a bakery in his supermarket. He had an appetizing section in his supermarket. He had all these different um, little sections in a supermarket. And he actually didn't own all of those different sections. He owned some of them he managed himself. Some of them he had other people manage, and he didn't really have uh, a look into that component of the business, but he would trusted the people that managed it. And then he had a bakery and I think one other department that were he rented out to a third party. And I asked him why, because the bakery was super popular. And he said to me that I don't know anything about a bakery. I'm a butcher. So if I walk in there and they're screwing things up, I'm not going to know I'm not going to know what's wrong. I'm not going to know, what to do. I'm not going to even know that something's wrong until it's too late. So he said, I need to understand what's wrong in every component of my business. Now, in the parts of the business um, where he has somebody else managing it, that's an area where he understands, but he needs to make sure that he hires somebody good to manage that. And then there's the third component where he manages it himself. So he's going to manage that section of the business himself. So that's the three
Yeah,
different
no,
like areas. So I think
yeah,
that's very important to understand, to have a deep understanding of your business, what you can handle yourself, and on those parts of the business, go all in. All of your focus. You're trying to grow fast, so as much time as you can into making sure that it gets to the point where it gets to the right point and it gets to where you need it to go. And then the other parts you need to either delegate it out to somebody you trust, or to understand, this is not a section of the business that I'm comfortable with even
yeah.
having, or, this is not a product or line that, maybe it's complementary so I can work with somebody else. But yeah, that's the long-winded answer.
No, that's good. No, that's really good. I know, when you talked about delegating out, obviously, one of our companies, Entra Admin, which is an executive assistant, a virtual assistant company, like a lot of people, like business owners, they're not good at something. They need to delegate it out. They need to free up time. And so just kind of focusing on what people want to do and what gives them joy and what they're great at. You've helped a lot of people, man. I just maybe share one success story from a client you've worked with over the years that you'd be willing to share, with us today.
So I think success, I don't think I mean, any of my really good clients, I don't think any of their success comes from me. As much as I'd like to say it does, it doesn't. I could say when, successful business owners are very, very organized, or very driven by themselves. They don't need, I help them realize tax savings. I help them understand their business and make sure that they understand all of that. And then, but a really good success story. I have a client who, I mean, she's amazing. She somehow has five businesses operating all at once. I'm not sure how. I'm not interested in managing as many people as she does. But really, it's a story of persistence. Um, Pretty much, well, half of her businesses have a story where she has to apply or work hard to even get in the door. And I found that like one of her businesses is a Chick-fil-A franchise. Chick-fil-A, apparently it's very different than all the other franchises where you get everything up front. You don't have to make a huge investment, but you need to apply, you need to get in, really need to show up for them and show that you're gonna do what they want you to do as a franchisee. Um, Likewise, in one of her, she has a transport, a logistics company as well, with one of the really large last mile logistics companies out there, and that as well it really requires you to, you know, apply yourself initially and interview well initially and make sure that people understand that you're going to be the one to make that happen. And a lot of times that is the underlying factor that gets you somewhere where other people can't. Anybody can start a business. Can anybody start a successful business? No. I mean, you need to apply yourself, and then, sometimes there's businesses where some people can't even get into because either they don't know exist, but if they do, they need to really prove, even before starting, that they can pull that off. So,
Yes.
And she just perseveres nonstop every day, all day,
Yeah.
which actually leads me to your next question, which is, how to one of the steps to do that,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
I'll let
Tell us more. Yeah.
Yeah, so make it to me, and I'm not even that good at this. I'm not that good at this, but this is a key. I learned this from a client when I worked at a firm 10 years ago. I learned something, and it's about making a list, every day
Mm,
making a list. And he said, I don't care what's on the list. It doesn't matter if it's to chew you out. If I have to call you to chew you out, I'm mad at you. That's on the list. I'm going to do that. Um, you know, Businesses, the difficult part of the business is understanding that, you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do. You're going to have to figure out things that you don't know how to figure out
mhm,
offhand. And so, in order to make that happen, you need to um, you need to say every single day, these are the items that need to be done. Because otherwise, you might procrastinate. You probably will procrastinate
mhm,
because you don't know how to do that.
mhm,
You're gonna pick on the easy pickings, the things that you do every day that are come easy to you.
mhm.
To make that list, I need to get this done. I don't understand how to apply for this loan, but I need this loan. I don't even know who to call, but I need to put it on the list, because putting it on a list, I'm gonna let me just tackle that little item. Let me at least email somebody today that I
Yes.
know that might be in that industry and might know what to do.
Man, I love that. No, that's great. Great feedback. Obviously, you have a wealth of knowledge. You've learned a lot over the years, certainly in your professional, but just about running a business yourself very well yourself. You have a lot of nuggets of information. The only thing that I'll respectfully disagree with you on is that you're too humble. I mean, you said that you give your clients all the credit for fast growth, but I will disagree respectfully and say that you have a huge part of that fast growth as well, Samuel, in terms of how you do things. And that's why it's a privileged to have you
Well, they
here
need to
on the
understand their
show.
numbers. That's
Exactly.
important. You can't, I mean,
Exactly.
if you don't know what you did in the last month, then you don't know how to pivot and what to do more of and what to do less of. So that's extremely
Exactly.
important.
And that's how you help, and you help in a lot of ways too. Just super humble, man. I appreciate you, and I know that a lot of people are going to want to connect with you. And so, if you have, the best contact information for you or your company, would you be willing to share it as we close out today?
Yeah, you can find us online, mytelkacpa.com, mytelkacpa.com. And yeah, all of our information is there. And we're looking forward to talking to any investors, business owners who are looking for help with tax or accounting.
I love it. Well, man, awesome to have you with us today. Everyone out there listening, faster results, faster growth. That's why you're here. And Sam gave you some great information. Take action on it and reach out to him, and have a better than amazing day.